Good morning, students. So today we are going to learn the basic fundamental concepts in geography, that is regarding latitudes and longitudes, which is very useful for all classes straight from 2nd standard to 10th standard. The concept of latitudes and longitudes is a very important concept. So now we are going to learn what are latitudes, what is the use of latitudes, and what are longitudes, and what is the use of the longitudes. See, dear students, basically these latitudes and longitudes are imaginary lines that are drawn on the globe. These are just imaginary lines. The word imaginary should be in the mind. Latitudes and longitudes are imaginary lines that are drawn on the globe. For the convenience to locate a place, these are just the imaginary lines that are drawn on the globe. Coming to these latitudes, if you see, these latitudes are also called as parallels. These latitudes are also called as parallels. If you see here, the lines which are drawn parallel to the equator, among the latitudes, the biggest latitude is the equator, that is 0 degree latitude is the biggest latitude what we can see, and that 0 degree biggest latitude is called as equator. So that is 0 degree latitude. 0 degree latitude is the equator, and all the lines that are drawn parallel to the equator. You know what are parallel lines? These are called as parallel lines. So to the equator, the lines that are drawn parallel to the equator are called as latitudes. I repeat the definition. The lines that are drawn parallel to the equator is called as latitudes. If you observe on the globe, there are 90 latitudes towards the north of the equator and 90 latitudes towards the south of the equator. Total, we have 180 latitudes plus 1 equator. So total, we have 181 latitudes, and among all these latitudes, 0 degree latitude is the biggest latitude. And now we are going to see some of the important latitudes. On the north of the equator, 23.5 degrees north latitude, and to the south of the equator, 23.5 degrees south latitude. These two are important. And now 23.5 degrees north latitude is called as Tropic of Cancer, and 23.5 degrees south latitude is called as Tropic of Capricorn. So very important for all the competitive exams. The latitudes have different numbers, and some of the important latitudes are 23.5 degrees north latitude is called as Tropic of Cancer, and 23.5 degrees south latitude is called as Tropic of Capricorn. In the same way, 66.5 degrees north latitude and 66.5 degrees south latitude. 66.5 degrees north latitude is called as Arctic Circle, and 66.5 degrees south latitude is called as Antarctic Circle. So these are the different names of the latitudes, and here we have 90 degrees north latitude, and here we have 90 degrees south latitude, which is called as North Pole and South Pole. So if you observe, these latitudes are the parallels which are drawn parallel to the equator. And another important point is that from the 0 degree latitude, towards the north and towards the south, this part is called as torrid zone. So if you observe, torrid zone lies between 23.5 degrees north latitude to 23.5 degrees south latitude, that is between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. The torrid zone lies, torrid zone. And the other zone what we have is temperate zone. So where do this temperate zone lies? This temperate zone lies between this Tropic of Cancer to the Arctic Circle and Tropic of Capricorn to the Antarctic Circle. So this is called as temperate zone. This is temperate zone, and between 66.5 degrees Arctic Circle to 90 degrees and south, this zone is called as a frigid zone. So dear students, if you observe frigid zone, these are the three zones where the latitudes divide our globe. So heat zones, latitudes divide the world into heat zones, and three heat zones what we have is torrid zone, temperate zone and the frigid zone. So if you observe, these latitudes are they form the angles, and these are very useful to identify a place on the globe. Based on the location of a country, as per these latitudes, we can easily identify a particular place on the globe. So for example, if Mumbai is located at 19 degrees north latitude, that is, we can clearly understand that Mumbai makes an angle of 19 degrees to the equator. So clearly, it is very clearly mentioned that the latitudes are useful to identify a place on the globe. And if you observe, between latitude to latitude, the distance is 111 kilometers, a very important concept. Between latitude and latitude, the distance is 111 kilometers of distance. We can't draw all the lines of latitudes on the globe. That is very difficult to draw all the lines on the globe, and that makes a bit of confusion, a bit of groupie, and it will be very difficult to identify. So the latitudes are given some numbers, and based on the numbers, some of the important latitudes what we have seen is the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, Arctic Circle and Antarctic Circle. So these latitudes, what is the use of the latitudes? The use of the latitudes is we can identify a place on the globe, and the latitudes divide the globe into three heat zones. They are torrid zone, which lies between Tropic of Cancer to Tropic of Capricorn, temperate zone, which lies between Arctic Circle to Tropic of Cancer in the north, and Antarctic Circle and Tropic of Capricorn in the south, and the frigid zones between 90 degree North Pole to Arctic Circle and 90 degree South Pole to Antarctic Circle. So these are the three different heat zones where the latitudes divide, and the uses of the latitudes we have seen. So dear students, tomorrow we will meet about longitudes. So please prepare notes on these latitudes on your own. Thank you very much. Have a great day.